Welcome to the Global Peace Film Festival Lives Online Conversation 2024 Festival Edition. Please join me, Kelly Devine, the head programmer, and Nina Streich, founder and festival director, in conversation with Maximina Juson, the director, producer, writer of One Person, One Vote, a film that you can see in the upcoming Global Peace Film Festival. Our in-person programming begins September 17th through the 22nd. Our virtual programming, A Week of Global Shorts, begins September 23rd, ending on the 29th. Information about all of our events and tickets for One Person, One Vote can be found on peacefilmfest.org. And now let's join Maximina in conversation about this very timely, might I say, urgent message to civic education about how we elect our highest office. Welcome, Maximina.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well,
So happy to be here.
Maximina, it is wonderful to have you. It's terrific to have the film, and as Kelly said, it is so timely and so important, such a critical issue for everybody to know about. Please tell us about the film.
All right. Well, so the name of the film is One Person, One Vote with a question mark at the end. I put a question mark at the end because this is a question that we're asking right now, I think, in our country. The Electoral College is the very unique system for America's choosing of the president or electing of the president. And most Americans don't understand how it works, and they don't know why we have it in the first place. No matter what level of education you are, there is mass confusion around this system. It's a very opaque system, very complex. And I thought it would be great to put it into a film and make it accessible to viewers of all ages, and make it interesting for young folks to people who are, seniors, middle-aged like me, across the board, no matter what age, we all seem to be confused about the Electoral College. And so I did the research and I put it all into a film in a way that is both entertaining and engaging.
And Maximina, speaking of your particular approach, for people who haven't seen it, without giving too much away, I think what's interesting about your approach is that you sort of had two strands. It seems as though one strand is the experts across a spectrum of thought about the institution, its history, and its role and the consequences. But then the other strand is actually watching for electors go through the process so that we see what it is as a lived experience. Can you talk a little bit about deciding to marry those two things together for this story?
Yeah, so like I said, I wanted to make this accessible. And, what the Electoral College is to most people is this really opaque process over there, right? Somewhere mysterious. And I thought the best way to kind of bring, this subject matter to the people is to put a human face on it, right? How many of us have ever met an elector? Almost none. And so I decided to go in there and look for four electors that were all very diverse from different parties, and show what the Electoral College looks like through the actual presidential electors that serve. And they're all from, like I said, they're all from different parties. And so even though they each have very different positions and motivations, together they create the fabric that is America. And I wanted this film to be a film that didn't just preach to one party or preach to the choir, that it was a film that really reflected the totality and the fullness of what America has to offer.
And I think when people see the film, they are going to be very satisfied with that, with your approach. And you've already touched on why it's particularly important. But as you were going through the process yourself, were there things that surprised you or things that you learned despite all of the research that you had done, along the way?
I mean, I was surprised every day. I literally learned something new about the Electoral College every single day I was working on it, just because that's just how complex and a web it is. I mean, when I started doing more research about the history, for example, the more I learned, the more shocked I became that, we as an electorate are not you know, for the most part, aware of of the history of why we have the Electoral College in the first place, and also how it's played out, over the course of time, from 1787 when the Electoral College was created, all the way to the election of 2020. So that's the span of time that this film covers, and so that's why we have a combination of both real world electors, but also subject matter experts who know about, the history and the roots of the Electoral College. But it was also important for me to draw that line from then to now, that, it wasn't just then and it happened then and it's separate from now. Like there is a thread, that connects us from that time until now. And that's, really what I wanted to show, that, one of the historians, opens the film by saying, a country that doesn't know its history is like a person walking around with amnesia, which I thought was an amazing metaphor. So what do we do when we actually remove that veil of amnesia? Then we can really understand, the Electoral College, because we understand, why it was created in the first place.
And in terms of what you hope people will take away from the film, one of the main drivers for our festival is organized around hoping that people will take action, that people will, see a film, be inspired, or see a film and see a model of democracy or a model of peace that they want to bring back to their larger community. So when it was when you were talking about that one expert who said, a country that doesn't know its history is like a person with amnesia. That's what made me think about, what do you expect? What do you hope people will carry forward from seeing this film? And do you have a particular impact campaign that's going along with this film?
Yeah, so really, knowledge is power. But right now, most Americans don't have the knowledge to feel empowered to talk about the Electoral College. One thing that I've been very, honored and blessed that at the Q&As after the screenings, a lot of people have been, the first thing that they say into the microphone is thank you. I felt really dumb around the Electoral College 80 minutes ago, and now I feel smart. And I can't, I'm amazed at how many times I've actually heard that. I feel so much smarter now. And it's really just because, we haven't had the information or the understanding or the knowledge to be able to talk about the Electoral College. So it's this thing that happens every 4 years, like the Olympics. And, you think about it a lot for this concentrated period of time, and then it doesn't come around for another 4 years. And so I think that if this film gives people the confidence to really talk about the Electoral College and be engaged in a discussion around the Electoral College, then, that will be, big fulfillment of my goal, was really to get people engaged, right? It's easy to disengage when you don't understand things. You don't feel confident to want to talk about stuff because you don't understand it. But once you are empowered with that understanding and that knowledge, suddenly you have a voice. And so I really want to give more Americans a voice to talk about the Electoral College. And it's really not up to me to tell you exactly what you should think. I just tell people I am a fly on the wall of history. And I'm here to bring you this information from, a objective um, perspective. I'm not here to tell you exactly what you think. Here's the full landscape. Here are all the different electors from different parties. Here are, the folks on both sides of the issue. And, it's up to you to decide what you want to do with that information, because that's what America is about, right? If we want to live up to the ideal of what America is, which is the ability to have, to have our own set of opinions, right? And to have different sets of opinions, then, if we truly respect that ideal, then we need to respect others who don't think exactly like us. So my ask is to be engaged, like take this information and engage in the way that you feel it makes sense for you to engage.
That's a really wonderful thing, because to say it like that, Maximina, because one of the things that we've tried to do is to connect the idea of democracy to peace, that democracy is a model of peace. But,
Mhm.
in that it's not some kind of homogenous
Right.
thing where everyone has the exact same opinion. We should definitely have rigorous intellectual debates about issues. That's the only way that we really, can find, new ways of thinking about things. But it's about the peaceful process by which we
Yes.
do.
And that is, yeah, another thing that I have been passionately advocating for is how do we deal dialogue and not demonize? And we're doing a lot of demonizing now because we're seeing each other, in these kind of two-dimensional us versus them capacity. And, what I'm asking people to do while watching, all four electors who are from all different mindsets is, yeah, you may not agree with everything they say. You might actually vehemently disagree with things that they say, but you can see them in their full humanity, and that's why I don't just kinda cover their function as far as their function as an elector, but also, who they are as a human, their family, their backgrounds, what makes them tick. I wanted to really, present each elector in their full humanity so you can be like, "You know what? That aspect of them, I can understand, I can relate to." And, it's not just this kind of simple, like, good versus evil, that there's nuance there, that we need to start taking a closer look at because, like, what we're doing right now is that we're just kind of demonizing each other, and, we're just spiraling into deep chasms of vitriol and hate, and that is, our country needs therapy. And so in my exercise of going into the different communities, I did so in an effort of understanding and, as I was out there having to earn trust and gain access, to these different communities, I had to explain to them what my intention was. And I'm not here to make anyone look stupid, to demonize everyone. Or anyone. I really just want to, help me understand you and how can we understand each other better in the long run.
That you do that very effectively with the four different electors who are so different from each other, and they do really come through as such rich and whole human beings, which is wonderful to see, and when they do have such different points of view. Um, so the film is going to be on PBS and on the Independent Lens series. Uh, what can people watching this and coming to screenings, what can they do to support the film? And also, can you tell us what's next for you?
Yeah, well, everybody who can or will vote for president, in my opinion, should see this film. Um, I like I said, my goal is to empower people with the information that they need to have a discussion, to have a dialogue. And my other goal is to say, how can we, reach across the aisle and talk to people again? And so that's really my main goal. I'm so happy that it's gonna be on PBS. I actually got funded by the National Endowment for the Humanities, and now it's gonna be, on PBS, so this really is a people project, and, I'm so proud of that, this will be free for everyone, so my I encourage everyone to tell if they see the film, to tell other people about it, and to tell and have those and tell those people to tell other people about it. Because really, as many people as possible need to see this film. There's also gonna be lesson plans on PBS Learning Media for grades 9 to 12 that I'm working with PBS to develop right now. Um and so that will be available for free. I'm also working with an educational distributor that is taking the film to universities so that they can host screenings or bring me there as a speaker or, buy the film for their libraries. So really it's just like getting it out, using the power of the people to spread the word. Like if you as a person have watched this film and feel like more people, need to see it, then tell people. Don't just watch it and then go on about your day. Share it with others and, let this be a groundswell that starts from the people and works works its way up, because that's real change starts from I don't want to say the bottom up, because I feel like the people are really should be at the top of the echelon, because at the end of the day, we hold the power if we decide to use our voice actively and organize
That's
together.
Yes, that's a fantastic sentiment, Maximina. Thank you so much for the conversation. This has, really been illuminating about the film. And I just want to remind people that there will be the opportunity to see this film as a part of the upcoming Global Peace Festival. Our live programming begins 18th and runs through the 22nd. And our
I think Kelly froze, so I'm going to take over from there. Our virtual programming begins September 23rd and runs to September 29th. All the information about the film festival is at peacefilmfest.org. And to find out more information about One Person, One Vote, you can go to Maximina's website, onepersononevote.co, not .com, .co, onepersononevote.co. And thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you at the next Glow.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.